So that led to a lunch with a guy named Joe Lewis, and 5 minutes into that lunch, he just said, "We want to take this off the table." And to me, that was an immediate yes, because I knew Amazon was there selling my books, and I liked the synchronicity of this show being one click away from where you could buy my books. And but the other people I was in business with were more traditional, and they were a little wary. This was 3 years ago. This was before Transparent, before the big wave of attention that Amazon's getting. So there was a risk factor involved, but we decided to take it, and here we are. The rest of my answers will be very short.
And Titus, how did you get involved? And when you first read it, did you know right away that you wanted to do it?
I did. Can you hear me back there?
Yeah.
I'll shout. I come from the theater. I should be able to project into a small screen. See, these are novelties. It's actually a soap dispenser. It's a vape machine. I read the script very quickly and knew immediately that I really wanted to do it. And through a series of sort of mishaps in scheduling, we kept having to reschedule the meeting, and it got to a point where, typically that boat can sail in the casting process, and so I was desperately worried that it was going to go away, and then the planets sort of lined up, and I was able to meet with Michael and Eric and Henrik and Peter Jan, and I walked into the room, and after a 5-minute conversation, I wanted it so much more desperately that it really plagued me, and then they sent me out of the room like I'd misbehaved to have a discussion amongst themselves, and then they gifted me this incredible privilege to play Harry Bosch, of which I'm forever grateful.
It's incredible. Thank you. Questions out here? Yep. Oh. Probably sell those on Amazon.
This is like the Ellen DeGeneres.
They'll be dancing later.
That'll be you.
So Michael's already touched on the TV becoming such a powerful force in storytelling, but this came through the Amazon sort of pilot season process, so obviously you had a year to see how it percolated through. Was it a nervous moment seeing what other shows it would be up against and how it would be received by the general public?
To be honest, I wasn't nervous at all. I'm more nervous by the traditional way. But again, my partners on this were people. Eric Overmeyer, the showrunner, he's been doing TV for 30 years. And this idea that we would make a pilot and put it out there for people to comment on and give 5 stars or no stars was alien. But here I was. I knew I had a fan base. I knew I had a pretty good a social media operation going, and so like I just thought right away, I can bring this. We can bring down the computers at Amazon. and so I was really for it, and I was highly confident because I also knew what we had, as in terms of who was going to play Harry Bosch, in terms of the script. Obviously, we hadn't shot a pilot yet, but from the day one, Amazon, when they said we want to take it off the table, they did say this is our process. We're going to put it out there and let our customers decide. And the alternate is I've done this before. I've written scripts for networks and cable companies, pilot scripts, and they go off in a room by themselves, and I don't know what they do, but they decide, whether or not the idea of the show goes forward. And in at least 2 of those cases, it didn't go forward, and they didn't even bother to tell me it's not going forward. I turned in my script, and I never heard another word. So to me, that's the wrong way to do it. And so I was very happy to try it this way. And now we do it again. Obviously, the whole 10 episodes are going to drop, and Amazon is going to have to make a decision in the next 6 weeks or so, hopefully sooner, on whether to do a second season, and part of that will be the numbers that this show generates in terms of reviews and stars and all that stuff. But once again, I'm confident. I guess I'm probably the only one in here who's seen all 10 episodes. I know what we have, and I know I've got the Bosch fans. The people who like the guy in the book is going to love this show, and that as a base, I'm very confident. That was shorter, wasn't it?
Nearest.
No, I don't need that. I'm okay without that. Can you guys hear me all right? now?
Yeah.
All right, this is a question for Titus, because Michael, you and I have talked about how Harry is a very internal character in the books. He's not very expressive. He's not this big extroverted character. So Titus, coming to that for a format that is all about what you see and what you hear, rather than reading on a page, how did you get Harry in your head, and how did you decide to portray him to someone who he's been beloved by for 25 years, writing, and try and convince them to hire you?
I don't have an answer for that. One of the things that I like is that Michael and Eric and company have the bravery and the balls to realize that so often what we see in certainly in network television, and that's not to deny or diminish network television's importance, but things are so often spelled out. And as you know, if you read the Bosch books, Harry is a guy of few words, and yet you do have to have him be demonstrative in some way. But we don't shy away from those moments where we see Harry being contemplative by himself in his house, in his car, because the story is there. The audience has a sense of what's going on with him.
Yeah, I would just add though, that day he talked about when he came in, and there had been a lot of anticipation. It was about 3 months from the day we said we want to talk to Titus Welliver until the day we actually did. And, of course he came in, he did a scene with an actress from the pilot, and obviously nailed that. But what was most important is then he sat with us and talked about his take on Harry, and really keying in on the idea that Harry doesn't really care about whether you like him or not. And that's kind of antithetical to what people do when they start out with a TV show. They want to create a character that everyone's going to love and want to come back to week after week. And he picked up on this part that is not the normal thing, as well as many other aspects of the character. That's really why we sent him out of the room. Normally in those situations, people come in, they go out, they go in. And then at the end of the day, you talk about it. But with Titus, he left, and somebody in the room goes, pretty sure that was Harry Bosch, wasn't it? And everyone goes, yeah, that was Harry Bosch. So our search was over.
Because I'm a dick. Well, that really quieted things down. I forgot I'm in London. I'm American. I have no internal monologue. Sorry.
Question for Michael. You've had this character for such a long time and had total control of it. What was it like to give up some of that control and put the character through this different style of writing with multiple voices having a say on what happens?
I guess I was at the right stage of this because I felt like it was about time. I'm always a believer of shaking things up creatively, and so I've been going into a room by myself and writing about Harry Bosch for 20-some years, so it was kind of nice to go into a room with 7 other writers, and I was kind of the referee. Everyone was steeped in the books, had their opinions of them, interpretations of them, and we would work out the episodes, the beats of an episode, and it was kind of cool because I'm very ego-driven because I always had the final say. It wasn't like a contracted thing. It was just that they knew I'm like the guy who knows most in the room. You know how you say everyone wants to be the smartest guy in the room? I actually was, because I knew this character way better than anybody else, and so it was a very ego-gratifying thing, but it was also a very creative time, and I had a good time with it.